Hello. Hello and welcome to Automat Live Coding. This is the stream where we write Automat. Automat is a game automation app similar to AutoHotkey. I can show you how it looks. You will have to just rebuild the world. So the idea with AutoHotkey is that you play a game, right? And the game has some repetitive elements. You can automate those elements by writing a small script that will click the mouse buttons, press the keyboard keys, and kind of play for you. The idea with Automat is the same, except instead of writing a script, you build a machine out of those visual components. They look like that. And they do lots of different things. This is a macro recorder. A macro recorder can record a macro. This is a macro. It's recorded to a timeline. After I recorded the macro, I don't need it. I can get rid of this. There is also this... you see, when I finished my macro, I actually pressed the key. So it's actually right here. I don't need that. And now I have a macro that will move my mouse in this funny shape. I can tweak it a little bit, for example, by removing this space at the start. I can hook it up to some key, for example, tab. Whenever I press tab, I want this macro to execute. Now I press tab, my mouse makes a funny shape. It's a very fast, very also intuitive way to program a computer, because it's also meant to be used beyond just game automation, but we are very early, so mostly game automation. It has a fairly efficient scripting language, because the scripting language here is based on assembly. So there we go. Here is, for example, an assembly instruction that will randomize some register. I can run it. I can hook it up to other assembly instructions. Bye-bye. Oh, this is actually a nice one. Hey, there is something wrong with rendering here. I will have to fix this. But now I can have a tiny machine that will register BX. So it will randomize this register, it will count the number of bits and write it to the next register. They can build long chains of instructions like that, and they can perform basically anything that you can do in assembly. So, okay, I said something incorrect. It's not everything, because assembly can also manipulate memory. I didn't expose memory manipulation or stack manipulation yet. It will come there. It's just, I think most of the things that you want to do with assembly, you should be able to do without resorting to memory manipulation. Like those, and I only exposed 6 registers, but those 6 registers should be plenty. Like a lot of the simple logic that you would need for game automation can totally do in 6 registers. There we go. So this is kind of like, this reminds me of Bitcoin. You know, when you mine Bitcoin, you want to count, you want to generate a hash with as many trailing zeros as you can. And also count trailing zeros. Anyway, so this is assembly, and this is macros, and we have a couple other mechanisms. One of them that we will are going to work on today is this one. So this is window activity. Let me hook it, for example, to my browser. So this tiny thing which can monitor my browser. So see, when I scroll in the browser, I can get real-time view of my browser within Automat. Very simple, but there's one more thing that it can do. Actually, stop this monitoring because it's using a lot of resources. There is this property called active on this window, and I can synchronize it with this. So now, whenever I switch a window, you can see it activates. So I actually did this off stream over the weekend, but yeah, it's a very fun property, and it allows me to control shortcuts. So I can have a shortcut, for example, I could hook up this shortcut. Synchronize it. I broke it. Anyway, this is exactly what we want to do today. So today we are going to fix a lot of bugs so that windows and hotkeys, so that they can be synchronized and they work nicely together. This is the plan for today. That was the original goal for this whole sync mechanism. It was just so that I can put a hotkey and make the hotkey enabled only when I'm in some game. Yeah, pretty much. Right. The way I do this is I build a debug variant of Automat. I fire up Claude. Fast mode is not more available. I'm not sure if I want fast. I think fast uses more tokens. Can I switch models? Oh, I was actually playing with new models released by Google. And they are terrible. The Gemma models. Those ones. They use, I think, slightly different tokens to separate the thinking context, and they confuse a lot of tools. And they still have trouble following instructions. They're not that great. I think they are the best open source models. Unfortunately, they are not that great. The one advantage of those models is I think they are fine-tunable, so I think it should be possible to actually embed them and fine-tune them to some specific use case. Anyway. The way I debug Automat is I explained to Claude that whenever I say gdb debug, it should fire up Automat in debug mode. And in this debug mode, I am able to synchronize them like that. Yes, I can do this. Do this up here. State sync this. Oh. Anyway, now when I do Alt-Tab, it should enable the hotkey. Okay, now space is not working. Okay, why does it work right now? I can detect that the window is active. And I guess, okay, so hotkey doesn't actually notify this button that it should be updated. So this is the first thing to fix. When I switch this window, it actually sends a signal because it activates this switch, but you cannot, it did activate the space because if I press space now, it's not working. Space is dead because Automat is capturing the space now. So the sync seems to be working. Oh, or not. It's nice. Okay, let's see what is the issue. I will start taking kind of a list of things to fix. So fix crash in window watch. Then I wanted to make sure that power button on the hotkey changes the state when it's enabled. And also, I think there was this issue with cables where they do not blink. When I activated the hotkey, the cable below the hotkey did not blink. Maybe I should keep those things in the other row. I also have this task, expose window activity as a field. This is done, I've done this over the weekend, but I would like to do one more thing. I would like this window activity to be writable. I want Automat to be able to activate and deactivate other windows. Because Automat relies on bidirectional syncing. Bidirectional syncing is, by the way, super tricky, full of errors. You can easily lead your network of syncable objects to oscillate or have loops or other fun stuff like that. But it's also kind of fun. It makes it very easy to build applications. So I think I will tackle this challenge and I will try to have a full bidirectional sync within Automat. And yeah, it's going to be a fun challenge. So far it's working nicely. I think I found enough tricks to actually make it work. So yeah, I hope it's going to be fine. Next. But let's first fix those things. Those are small things. Power button is sleepy and connector is sleepy. Oh, and I forgot to mention, big thanks to all of the GitHub sponsors of Automat. It's very encouraging. Current and past sponsors, everybody. It's very encouraging to see other people believe in the project. I guess this is what it is about. It's about kind of having some form of external validation, I think. Very nice, thank you. Okay, crash in window watch. Let's start with this one. Okay, it's super easy. Let's actually put this here. And remove that. Super easy. So one of the errors should be fixed now. And what was the suggestion from AI? Yeah, cache window. Yeah, this needs to happen after erase, because this will check the list of watching. I think I can use the win variable here. Let's hook up our window. This and hotkey also this. It's going to be space. Okay, space is not working. And disconnect this, connect this again. It's connected. Now space is working. Type space, cool, cool. Yeah. This is amazing. It just works. Wow. Okay, so this is green. The next one is hotkey power button. I want this power button to fill because it's just cool. It's just cool to have a power button that actually responds. It should fill with red. Let's go to hotkey. What is text? Okay, so this is what happens when the hotkey is being turned on or off. We are just calling object enable, object disable. Object enable. Hotkey release, then requests the grab, and then calls wake toys. Maybe I should put just return here. I'm not sure. We are waking toys. Okay. So waking toys means that the animation system that Automat is using, which is Actually very similar to how request animation frame works in JavaScript. So this is equivalent to request animation frame from JavaScript. This should start calling tick, this function. This hotkey widget, we're in the hotkey widget, in the tick function. Selector, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we are never really waking up the, where is it? This widget. Power button. We need to wake this power button. Look at this power button, how it's implemented. Okay, so this power button holds a reference to the target. I'm actually wondering, maybe there is a... So one way of implementing this would be to just wake it explicitly from within tick here. I can do this. This will be last. Yeah, almost definitely. So this is a solution. This works. Maybe this could be improved. So now I can synchronize those two. And yeah, it feels properly when I toggle it. I can have a hotkey. Maybe not hotkey. A key. For example, space. So only when I hold space, this hotkey activates, and now it can intercept, for example, the A key. Space, A. This doesn't light, this doesn't flash, but oh yeah, I need to hold it. Now it will flash. When I release space, the A is no longer doing anything. On that. On one hand side, it's nice because it's explicit, you know, I have a tick. I explicitly call, hey, wake this power button, because it should also animate. I could even check, the state. Did the state change? If it did, yes, then I can wake the power button. But I think there could be a more general way of doing this. The idea is that we create this power button. I am passing this target here. So what this power button could do is it could use this parent reference to find the root widget. I do not have a root widget definition in here. Actually, that's better. So toy store is a very special class because this is what connects the memory of the computer to the widgets which are on screen. So Automat uses this thing called toys, and toys are those toys are just responsible for drawing stuff on screen. The actual stuff is, whatever you put in memory. Automat doesn't really have a VM, doesn't really have super structured anything. The only thing that's really necessary for Automat to work is that those objects in memory, they need to have atomic reference counters, because the whole system is multi-threaded. So so for Automat to properly track the lifetime of those objects, it needs to have access to those atomic reference counters. And one more counter which will notify Automat that something has updated in memory. Now within this toy store, I was right where I should have been. I have this map. So this is a mapping from an object to a toy, and toy store owns toys.
Meister Chica says,
Hello?
Hey. I don't know if you've checked out Pi. People have been talking amazing things about Pi. I knew not the number, the harness. I think you even mentioned this. Yeah, you definitely used it. Anyway, I was trying this out, and it works, but the amount of pain you have to go through to actually configure it, I mean, you kind of are expected to write TypeScript extensions. for each functionality of the harness. Yeah, all of this just feels so weird. I did download some of the extensions from GitHub, but they are so...
It's caveman tool with taste of modern JavaScript.
Yeah, and the fact that it's using TypeScript for those extensions is also so strange. Because TypeScript, I feel like it requires some kind of proper development environment config before you can actually use it, before you get proper type checking and everything.
It requires Bundiricate or Deutsche.
Yeah. Such a strange tool, but the opinions that I read online, they were so... People who liked Pi, they were so dogmatic about, you know, how much better Pi is than Cloud Code. And I mean, I'm losing trust in people. After I read those things and I try this, and then it turns out to be...
The Pi itself for extension reloading.
It's not even a complete tool that you can use. It's more like a framework. It's more like a library for people who want to write their own harnesses. Yeah, I guess this is the use case. If you want to write your own Cloud code, customized with, you know, your special feature set, I guess then Pi is amazing. Oh, and I was trying Gemma, the new Gemma models.
It's FM's lab of DI AI tools for people who don't know how to read docs quite.
So I was trying those models, checking them out. They are fast, I have to say that. The one that I used, first I tried the largest, and the largest was trying at like 50 tokens per second. The second largest, I managed to load it fully on the GPU, and it was just flying. It was like 150 tokens per second. The 26 billion parameters. I didn't try the small ones. I think the small ones could be also incredible. I am going to eventually, I am going to include something like one of those smaller ones in absolutely. I think they will be doing a lot of fancy things inside the environment.
50 tokens, that's what about 200 chars bytes.
This is like, all I need is it has to be faster than me reading the text. As long as it's, you know, faster than me reading the text, I'm happy. And everything faster, it just feels like magic. It just feels like, oh, I can drop 10 times more work on this and tell it to manage other agents, and it's like force multiplier, having super fast models.
Hey, Elias. Yes, it's time, press the button.
We're talking about Linux 7.0. Audio and image. I'm excited about audio. Yeah, so nice.
They told us it's 2022 that by 2026, we will have locally running LLMs us.
I actually think those Gemma models, they are probably better than ChatGPT, the original one. Let me actually... ChatGPT became huge when it went to in 3.5, I think. So that's the summary.
And they need 1-2 minutes to read an average config file.
I also think context is probably longer because Gemma 4 is like a $250 tokens. A $250,000 tokens, sorry. I mean, with rope, it can be as long as you want. Yeah. It actually happened, yeah, like you say, just about in the time where people expected this to happen. And how about GPT-4?
Can someone call me when AI companies discover MMPEG files?
I am really curious about the secret sauce that they are using in those cloud-hosted models, because they are so much better at instruction following. And this is the big differentiator. Gemma 4, so when I looked at it, it is better than all of the previous local models, but this is because it's thinking in a very specific way. If you look at the thinking section of Gemma 4, it repeats the requirements that you gave it in a more structured way and proposes the answer, and then within its thinking block, it thinks about, okay, have I satisfied each of the requirements? The first one, yes. The second one, yes. The third one, no, I didn't. Okay, I need to write a new response. It writes the new response, and it goes back to those requirements. So it's thinking about the constraints, the rules that you gave it, and it's iterating on the answer until it finds the answer that satisfies your rules, and then it gives you the response. So it is making a lot of mistakes, but they are all happening within the thinking block before it gives you the answer, and then it gives you the answer. So it has this nice kind of metacognitive strategy that I think improves the accuracy without making the model much, without having any clever architectural tricks. The structure of the thinking block is much better.
Secret sauce, hardware, and enslopified slop generator used to even more enslopify new slop generator. I think they are getting paid by slop token produced.
Some random block. Do not believe random blocks. Like those benchmarks that they are giving, they are totally not trustworthy, because the tasks that are part of the benchmarks, if they leak into the training data, even not explicitly, even the techniques which are part of those benchmarks leak into the training data, the model is being trained on a solution, essentially. I think the fact that they are improving on those benchmarks is really not a great indicator of actual improvement.
And probably 100K Indians employed somewhere behind scenes to write stuff out instead of slop generators, Dutchman.
You know, this stuff has to be high quality. You cannot just drop more text and have the model become smarter. I mean, that's the whole idea with pre-training, but the model just learns to generate text as just stupid text. I want to teach the model how to generate correct text. Yeah, there is our Gemma. 1451 ELO score. This is less than 50 points behind Claude Opus. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. This is far worse, in my opinion, than Opus.
Have you read about AI being actually Indians?
Yeah, I heard the story. This is, I think, how... is it SpaceX? Or Tesla? You know, Tesla, yeah, Tesla. This is how Tesla trains their Optimus AI. Yeah, this Gemma 4, it's ridiculously cheap. Oh, and I was actually also running the full one in my RAM. Running this in RAM is also acceptable. I think it runs at something like 5 tokens per second, but it still runs. I'm very suspicious about this high position. I think it should be at least 100 points behind, probably more than 100 behind Opus. This is my kind of feeling about the difference.
Wait, wasn't Gemma the model that Google claimed that can be stripped so much that they could embed it in browser, Dorjar?
Yeah, and I think they did. I think if you open developer tools, if you have this AI mode, I think it's using some kind of local model.
Window. You can do that with some Mistral models and you don't even have to strip them down.
The only problem with them is that they are huge, I mean, in terms of download size. Like, for instance, I'm putting Automat on GitHub, right, so that you can download it on the releases page. I don't think I will be able to put a multi-gigabyte file there. like a 2 GB, for instance, because the model is kind of like 2 GB. I think the model will have to be a separate download.
I managed to get Mistral Small 4 to run a 25K in and 2.5K out on my laptop that has 6 cores, 12 threads, and no GPU or APU.
I think those small models can do amazing things. And so I have this tendency to try to run larger models because larger models feel like they are more intelligent. But I wonder if going for more smaller models is actually maybe a better idea. I mean, to have them vote or something like that. Be right back.
I don't know why, but I feel like Jipu Mistral and some other company which I can't remember the name. But ear shit's Chinese. One will win. First AI war.
Okay, I am back. Yeah, fun stuff. Be called observed wave counter. So the idea is that this toy, this is owned by this toy entry. And those are extra observers, and I do not own them, so I only store track TTRs.
Also, I enrolled back in uni.
Oh, some kind of different specialization, like math or something like this, or are you going for the, you know, tertiary degree or something like that?
Languages and copulars.
I had a friend who was studying this, and he was complaining that it's very hard to submit a paper to a conference because they tend to be picky.
80x.
There's going to be a lot of classes.
And to get some free publications.
Okay, just broke everything. Everything. So I would like to, I guess I should do this in a simpler way. Distract PTR. This is a fun class. This one. I'm kind of very proud of this. This is like a single-threaded smart pointer. It's not. It's absolutely not thread safe, but whenever an object gets deleted, when it needs distractor, it just clears all of the pointers that point at it. It's a very fun way to prevent use after free. It converts each use after free into a null pointer exception, but null pointers can be checked for, so it's actually a very fun way to prevent errors. So I am clearing all of the null observers and all of the others should be non-null. Perfect. With this new mechanism, it's not finished, not quite finished. I should be able that all of this just so I can remove this single line. It's going to be bad.
Also, I had to access academia.edu from personal account. I don't know why, but feels like LinkedIn for nerd when using it from not official edu institution account.
Yeah, be right back. Never mind. So within Toy Store, I need to add an API for observing toys. This is concerning because I'm constructing this hotkey widget, which is the toy for the hotkey. And while this widget is being constructed, Toy Store does not have toy entry yet. I cannot really add there. Maybe the previous approach was better, where each object has a single well-defined toy and no extra observers. Yeah. Yeah, I will revert. This, this, this should be wake. Let's revert this. I'm thinking that this approach where I do explicit waking, it uses less memory. It's more explicit, kind of. I think this is the way maybe to go. Shouldn't over-engineer it. Funny, I can press on space by enabling the hotkey. I can also trigger the hotkey by pressing and releasing space. Okay, I think the CD issue that I was fixing is now working okay. Okay, so this is done. Next is the connector. The connector should also wake up properly, and we are actually, I think, in the right file even. Blah blah blah. I'm checking. Loading this wake counter. Perfect. Blah. Okay, I do this request key grab. Key grabber key down. This calls schedule next. Aha. Should be done like that. I did change some things, so arguments do not inherit their parent object's wake counter. They have their own now. There we go. Now it works.
I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
URL.
Yeah, true. Some kind of parse tree. Whoa. Such a readable parse tree.
I think it's the JSON part that's wrong.
It's a list of objects. Each object has a type, name.
No anchors.
You mean line numbers? Looks decent. Looks fine to me. Okay.
Line
tasks done.
numbers are missing since I don't have the machinery in place.
Yeah, I guess for reporting errors, line numbers could be useful. Okay, the next on the list is writable window activity. The main thing for today.
Technically I do, but I'm missing file namespaths.
Those files and name paths, they will take a lot of space in the parse tree. Unless you store them only once at top level.
I could have anchors field in JSON repair Avast, but YAML supports them natively.
need a namespace for cross-platform desktop utility functions. OS window, maybe.
And also how to implement anchor mechanism on top JSON without it becoming valid string or int later down the line.
Why would that be a goal? You mean... I don't even know what you mean here. You know, each of those types, function decal, function call, string literal, they would just have line and column or something like that. And maybe path at the top level. It's still a lot of properties that I am not sure are so useful.
All major parsers like TTS-ed require JSON Reaper ODAS.
It's honestly impressive that those things are still working so fast. If they convert all of my code into a JSON tree, oh, how do they do this? First thing we need to do is to... We have window type here. Nice. Let this window handle in here. In the window handle. Yeah, I think it's good to have those two namespaces because one is about internal Automat's of architecture and other is about operating system concept. So one of the situations where I'm very happy that C++ has namespaces. OS is a perfect namespace. is this? I'm apparently not using this activate window anywhere. So I think I will just get rid of it. Okay, this actually calls for Claude.
Also did checkouts STD, experimental of Clang for reflection support.
Oh, this is interesting stuff. Maybe I will be able to get rid of my Python parser and use C++ reflection for most of the things I need.
Behind. It sucks.
You know, everything in C++ sucks initially. There was this move semantics. Initially, when move semantics, the R value references, when it came out, it was so weird. Okay, be right back.
Big time.
I am back. So C++ reflection, I know it's using those ear operator. It's rabbit ear or cat ears. I actually do not see any. Oh yeah. I have no idea how to use this.
BW, I had the whole LLM project from source. It took about 6 hours for CP26 support.
Yeah. I'm not trying to push the most recent versions anymore. I just wait until they are packaged by my operating system and use whatever I get from there. Coroutines. If you play with coroutines, coroutines are also broken in a similar way that the usage of coroutines is just Byzantine. You really need a book, a reference of how coroutines work to write any code that uses coroutines. I guess it's the same with reflection. because I think reflection is not really meant to be used all the time. It's probably meant to be used in a library, not in regular programs.
Why were coroutines even moved from extension namespace into STD?
And the flow of coroutines is very, very strange. And one super valuable property, which is stack-based allocation, is unfortunately not part of coroutines. I actually wonder, how do coroutines manage stack space? Each coroutine needs a separate stack. Anyway. Okay, so this is the window that we are activating. Timestamp.
I feel like coroutines format TextMap library, and most of the CP26 features do not belong into SCD namespace. Both Coupler team at company I used to work for and Kernel-Loss team, we shared the opinion most of that should have been moved into namespace, like STD. libdevel.
Format? Actually thought that format was kind of like upstreamed FMTlib, essentially. Like taking a popular formatting library and just making it part of the standard, because it's just so useful. Okay.
And CTD internally implements the format library by invoking already in-placed std, toastring from Och. At least Mu and Miss HDL do that. I didn't even bother reading LVM's custom configure file DSL to figure out what they do.
I'm not really sure what are the issues with FMTlib. Not FMTlib, the stdfmt. That one seems like one of the decent things. It's just not always available. Okay.
Feature parity.
This function activate window, it's funny because it's an asynchronous function essentially. It needs to send a request to the window manager. And sending from the request to finish is different from just sending the request and doing something else.
No runtime format. No easy way to provide runtime format strings custom parsers, needing to use custom format syntax that could be processed as context per constable. But CD requirements, needing it be pretty much DSL that then has be parsed, and then has be parsed, and then interpreted at runtime.
Okay, so you cannot have runtime format strings, which is arguably, it used to be a source of some errors, where people passed user-controlled data as format string. But I'm not sure if it's a big issue. You can always hack together something yourself if you want to have some runtime formatting. But yeah, it could be part of the library. Runtime formatting as well. Some kind of dynamic format. Yeah.
You mean pass -LFMT to the linker.
Oh no, you said that FMT doesn't have the runtime. It needs to be const-eval, the format string. Anyway.
FMT has and can support custom format strings spdlog as example. SED can. SPDlog by default uses their bundled FMT lib, probably also customized and stripped down.
Okay, this is actually a good plan. It's actually better than I planned for.
before I go slapping in code into utfight formatted plain text files. Is this most comparable to the Golang slice?
URL.
I don't remember if slices can also start in the middle of the array. You know, you have an array and I think in Go you can have a slice that points at a section in the middle of the array. So I think this is not really the same. I think capacity should be... Golang distinguishes arrays and slices. I think capacity is part of the array and the length is part of the slice.
var slice 2.3?
Something like this, yeah. So I think capacity should move here into storage. And maybe like this. I actually don't know how slices work under the hood. Maybe they have even more data. I'm not sure.
Ah, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Golang does not allow you inspect internal capacity, but compared to most list likes Golang slices are trivial to copy because they don't do full copy until you write into copied slice.
And probably they compare RC counter to see if they are aliases or not. Yeah. Sounds like a nice design. I wonder.
That's why I wrap storage into RC, because my idea is to do copy of RC on initial copy, and wait until write do full copy.
Or just, share the array. Why do a copy at all? Share data is the cheapest. Copy could just be, explicit.
You get exactly one copy. And then you wait for foot guns to go off.
Grainer.
Then you on Hacker News advertise it as solving copy problems in CPP. And when users complain on GitHub, you blame it on skill issue. And when someone forks it to fix you, DMCA them Anthropic style.
I think those lazy hidden copies are not really the best part of Go. I mean, they are not a big issue. I don't really care about them. It's just fact that the Go makes a copy for you sometimes. It's strange. It feels like an optimization that's kind of forced. And be relaxed. That's fine. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, I see. So the model actually assumes that we want to track the active window at all times. Which is kind of wrong. We do not need to track it at all times. I wonder if Cloud is going to push back on me. Because there is an argument why this should be removed. Yeah, now this should be removed, restored, okay. This time, at what offset it is? 12 bytes. Okay, this one has time, and we are reading this time, okay. this should be above. This is probably sending some requests. This time always at 12 bytes. Yes, the offset is the same everywhere. Yeah. Oh, this one has a different offset. Okay, I see a problem. There are two mutexes. It's probably confusing. We'll remove this mutex then. Maybe it does make sense. It seems like there are two different mutexes actually. This imp lock seems to be just locking access to this window handle thingy. I am removing this mutex. In the second thing, but I will remove those two. This says bye-bye, and this says bye-bye.
$772 says,
No webcam?
Oh, sorry. Forgot to switch the scenes. Hey, by the way. Yeah, usually I just forget to unmute the microphone, I keep the webcam on. Now it's the opposite. Yeah, I can get rid of this duplicated code.
Helped my mom set up her Apple Watch this morning. Yee.
I like that the TTS added DCA at the end. It probably inferred your emotional state somehow.
Meister Chica says,
We should ban tech.
$772 says,
I honestly think Agentic OS is good for non-tech people. So many options, even I was confused.
I'll just call this handle. I'll break everything again. That's fine. I am taking and releasing this lock very quickly because I do not want to hold it for a long time. It was causing errors, I remember. Anyway.
I've been applying for jobs these days.
Oh, what kind of jobs?
Anything to do with computers and people.
Both at the same time.
I've been looking for jobs in the middle of nowhere, lol. Alabama? I want to move to the middle of nowhere for a few years for fun.
Yeah, it actually does sound fun. If you work in tech, it's like costs of living are so much lower.
I like NYC, but I like the country better.
Yeah. And it's also an opportunity to get farther away from the noise. I'm pretty sure I just broke the Windows build. I will see if it works. If this works. Oh, and one more thing here.
Upstate Nye has relatively cheap houses for sale. But I want to move to the deep south, maybe Parallelogram, Tennessee.
Now I can switch windows by pressing a button here. Oh, I have a cursed idea. I will synchronize a timer with this window. And I will synchronize another timer with another window. For example, this one.
I like the idea of having many centers of innovations, all decentralized. Instead of having a few dozen cities host the best people.
Oh yeah. So this is my Alt-Tab machine. Whatever window I activate, it can be active for at least 5 seconds, after which it switches to the other window. The 5 seconds, it switches here. And the fun thing is I can mess with this. I can switch myself, because the synchronization is bi-directional.
Why doesn't infinite mirroring lead to crashes?
Oh, you mean this? Oh, I broke it. Speaking of crashes, let's see how fast we can switch windows. Now it's actually hitting some issues. Faster than 60 FPS now. I mean, not faster than 60 FPS. Far from fast. Oh, I crash. Anyway, I think when I turn the window on, I think I should record the time and avoid sending the message back. Because there is a reflection issue here. Reflection meaning that in those graph with bidirectional sync, every object needs to make sure there is no information being reflected, otherwise it will cause some issues. Okay. I can make this slightly smaller by moving the booleans into the padding zone. Okay, this capture time.
Meister Chica says,
Kids don't write code at 3 a.m.
URL.
This is the kind of code. Actually, do not know what language is this. Is this? Oh, it's Python. It's Python. I don't even write those generic classes anymore. This is the something. This is the one thing that AI is actually better than me at. Maybe if I have very specific requirements. Dump. It's not an incremental hash. I actually think this activated time I think this should be a shared variable.
GetArthur fails on Cache-Dixter any class, but does not on Dixter any. Because why the hell not?
I honestly have no idea what is the point of this getter. Maybe this is some JavaScript idiom I'm not familiar with. I know what, Python. Python idiom I'm not familiar with. I know what getter does, but I don't know what's the context. I'm also not interested in knowing the context.
Claude said it's bug in Python source code. GPT said it's bug in userdict code. DeepSeek said it's bug in Getator. GM said it's because I wrapped the wrapper in wrapper and added custom method disallowing it to be treated as dict by Python interpreter.
Who to believe? Yeah.
None were correct, but GM was closest.
I do wonder, oh, maybe it should not be shared. Because if I have multiple objects that are tracking the same window, only one of them should be silenced. So okay, it's less activated time. It needs to be part of the object.
Reason I misread the documentation, then writing code, and Get was giving me headaches. Getator works on namespace, object I.access, not on indexed access.
Ah, I mean, I do not have enough context to even understand what this code does. Like, what's the cache variable? What's this?
Cache for build system.
Yeah, I think the mistake is going to happen on this line because cache is not defined. And userdict is probably also not part of standard. It needs to be imported, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be Atomic, think like that.
But would you say that Kiev dickmap is an attribute or not?
Oh, absolutely not. It's handled by an overload in Python. It goes through get item or something like this. Yeah. The attribute lookup goes through this. Yeah. And the implementation doesn't have to use getAtt. GetAtt will just redirect. Python has like two different storages. It has those attributes and items. They are different. Not so much in JavaScript or Lua. I think in those languages they are pretty much the same.
It has too many.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually agree. It's kind of confusing to have two parallel dictionary-like storage system in every object. I need to use this, so
It has statics, module dynamics, and pointer-like ones. Among many other things. But if you need to reference counting in C, you do include Python H.
okay. So when I click this to activate the window, there are actually 20 milliseconds passing before Automat receives this event. This is a lot. In It's going to be different on different operating systems. It hurts. I need to add some documentation here. What's the name of this? Yeah. We'll add the documentation here in a sec. This here.
Ronit Kumar 4444 says.
O-P-E.
Hello. I think this is what was causing the fast-paced alt tabbing to break. I think in SyncHH, yes, this strategy is described. Okay.
What are you doing?
Oh, right now I am trying to, let's say, harden some elements of Automat. It's a kind of like a visual programming language. Okay, that was a crash. Fascinating. I deleted this, added this, and it crashed. We have to investigate those crashes seriously. Okay, I will connect one of them to one of those windows, and the other window I will connect here, for instance. Okay. Down to 1 second. So this is a tiny machine that's going to alt tab between two windows. And I can make it faster. And what's the use of this? I don't know. I'm not there yet. I think it is way more stable now. I think I can switch apps way faster. Okay. Why is it stopping?
Okay, first of all, let me tell about myself. I am doing engineering CA, and I am in my first year, and I know nothing about coding. So can you suggest me something?
I think a very good approach is to get a book on some kind of programming. You need to pick first the area, the type of soft that you want to create. Typically websites, but some people want to build web services. Some people want to play with AI.
Build HTTP server door.
And there is a lot of AI now, so I actually don't know how AI is going to really look in the coming years. Right now AI is kind of perfect. It's like the way that AI programs right now, it couldn't be better. Like, you still kind of need a programmer to use AI properly. It seems like I think you still need to kind of learn how to code before you become a professional. I mean, there is still a space for professionals in the market. But anyway, first you pick an area, like where do you want to specialize? Game development, web development, and so on. And then just get a book that explains everything from scratch and go through the book very slowly and do every exercise. Like whenever the book explains how to do something, just do it and play with it for a while before progressing further. And don't rush this, because learning things actually takes time. You cannot learn stuff in a day. You actually need to take breaks. Oh, you know what I want to try? We'll disconnect those. I wanted to do this. I wanted to hook up a macro recorder to a key, for instance, space, so that it will record only when I hold space. And it crashed. It crashed. And have fun with whatever you're building. This is probably the most important part, like maintaining the motivation. If you can somehow derive pleasure from coding, it is doable. I mean, look around. is going to be 10 times easier. Like forcing yourself to do something like this, to learn coding, it can be super painful. You don't have the intrinsic motivation to do this. I mean, since you're asking this question and you came to Twitch to ask this question, it's probably not a problem for you. Okay, I like the code that we have right now. So this is done, but I broke several other things. I just broke Windows build totally.
Ranet Kumar 4444 says,
I tried learning from YouTube, but the problem is that I am just doing the same thing which the AI teacher is teaching. Just learning a programming language, but lots of problems.
Yeah, YouTube is very bad at teaching. There are plenty of channels that do very impressive videos, but they only show you the results. And it may seem like it's very easy to get those results, when in reality it's a result of, you know, weeks or months of trial and error. Actually, watching YouTube can be probably a good way to get discouraged, I would say. I would stay away from YouTube for like learning how to code. It needs to happen at your own pace. You know, as you learn a new kind of topic or idea that you can apply, try applying it, see how it works, how far can you push it, and then, you know, do step by step. And follow a tutorial. If you're learning programming, I think Rust has a very good book. I think Rust has a book like this one. Yeah. Yeah. Rust as a language is not a particularly fun language to work with, and it's maybe not the best one to start with as well. Maybe it's the best way language to start with. But the fact that the book is kind of is guiding you step by step for everything, explaining all of the concepts, this is very nice. It's super nice. There are probably other good books, probably way better than this one that I just shown. The best languages to start with are probably JavaScript or Python. JavaScript or Python or C, one of those three. But it kind of depends on what you want to do. If it's game development, Then, maybe C#. Maybe C# is the best language to start with.
I started with Java.
Java is another good one. Yeah, I mean, if you learn one of those languages, all of them, they actually come from the same tradition. There was a language long time ago called Algol, and it introduced this structural programming style. So all of the ones that I given, like JavaScript, Python, C, C#, and Java that you mentioned, they are all derived from Algol. So they all have the same block-based structure, functions/procedures. Some of them have objects. The only difference is the syntax, and the syntax is something that you can learn in a day or two, and you can use the language. If you're familiar with Java, you're kind of half the way there. It's you can check out their languages, how they differ. They shouldn't be really difficult for you if you know one already.
I made grammatical mistake. English is not my first language, BW. My whole class is learning C. I am thinking about web development. I just completed Java, but don't know what to do next.
C is actually like both of them are fine for web development. I mean, front end. Yeah, for front end you kind of need JavaScript. No way around this. But JavaScript is, even though the name suggests it's related to Java, it's not really related to Java at all. Syntax is similar, but like 90% of languages have this syntax. Yeah. Are there any good materials for learning JavaScript? Let me check something. Okay, so there is one good place on the internet for learning JavaScript. So in web development, you'll always have front-end and back-end. Front-end is the stuff that runs in the browser, and the back-end is the server stuff, right? So back-end stuff, you're familiar with Java. You are learning C at school. Both of them are like perfect languages for a backend.
Someone is saying start ZSA, some saying start CUL, and DBMs, so I'm totally confused.
I mean, all of them, all of them. Essentially, it's like actually, I'm not familiar with DSA. DSA, let me check. Data structures and algorithms. I guess this is what you mean. Do all of them. Do all of them every day, a little bit from each one. This is, by the way, the optimal way to learn stuff is to do a little bit every day, because you do not learn when you read stuff or when you repeat it in your head. You learn stuff overnight when you sleep. You have to load your head with different ideas and then go to sleep. And the next day you will kind of know them a little bit better. They will be a little bit more intuitive for you. So yeah, you can learn languages and the stuff that you mentioned. Data structures and algorithms, absolutely necessary. Yeah, you have to know them in and out. SQL, very useful. Even in browsers, you have kind of SQL. You have this indexed DB. On the backend, you absolutely have SQL. You did a lot of work to actually put SQL within the frontend so that you can use it from JavaScript. Now you can compile SQLite to WebAssembly and use it from JavaScript. Yeah, it's by the way not too much. You just need to take those topics and plan them out and decide, okay, I am going to do 1 hour of this, 1 hour of this, 1 hour of this every day, and just follow this, and eventually we'll get through. It may seem like it's a lot. It is a lot, but it's totally manageable. You know, you do not have to learn all of this in a week. You have time to learn all of this. A typical, education takes years. So nobody expects you to become an expert in a couple of months.
So, as you suggesting me to learn JS, so should I, or start with this A now?
This is not an either or a question. I do both at the same time. I would say data structures are actually, they probably go nicely with C, because in C you have fine control over low-level behavior of the computer. But the ideas kind of apply in all languages. Mostly in C. Do both at the same time. Do not focus on just one. This is not the way to do it. It's like at school, you have different classes. It's not like the school takes, okay, for this week we are learning C and everybody's learning C for a week. No. You have like 10 different topics. And if you're looking for good materials, Mozilla has good JavaScript materials. I do recommend their articles. I'm thinking about this. I think I will just not do anything on window deactivation.
So you were saying, do DSA and JS simultaneously.
And even more, if you at school you're learning C, do also that. Like several topics at the same time, it totally works. They supplement each other. You know, in data structures, you are learning what to program, or you know, like the building blocks that you want to. That you are essentially learning the Lego of programming, and in languages you learn how to express yourself in each language. So you absolutely need both. And if you learn both at the same time, it gives you an actual opportunity to practice. So yeah, they totally work together.
CE is my college subject, and in college just they are focusing on theories, not logics.
Anyway, learning language requires some practice, and data structures gives you a good target to practice on. I think this would be possible to do this. You just left a note. So I don't think it's... I was actually thinking about switching to the desktop window. Maybe I could activate the desktop window. Desktop is kind of always there. Okay, I guess this is fine. Okay, the Windows build is broken. I need to fix it. Maybe I can fix some other small issues first. Okay. We'll delete this. I didn't actually do it. Okay, I want to see what will happen here. Okay, screen is empty, so I'm putting a macro recorder, a key, hooking this up to space, synchronizing, pressing space, I can draw a shape, and when I release the space it crashes. Okay. I would guess the bug is somewhere in macro recorder. Probably not in key presser. I have this long running, which we call stop recording on cancel. So this is what's happening here. We're somehow calling this stop recording. There we go. This is a very tough issue. this keylogger up, calls stop recording. It goes through this release. Okay, so I would like to be able to concurrently, to delete the elements of this from within this function. I don't like this idea of snapshotting. Especially that loggings, they are unique pointers. If they are deleted, it doesn't matter that I have a normal pointer. The object is going to be dead. Yeah, it will be dangling. And what if I change the container type to a list? I think of all of the solutions, the last one is probably the correct one in the mathematical sense. Yeah, because I still have this issue, erasing the current entry. Or maybe I could hold iterators. Okay, this is a big thing to think through. Do I want to have this immediate mutation, which is more efficient, faster? It produces machines that are more reactive, but they are slightly unstable. It's also less code, I think. I think those kilo links, they need some kind of lock. And those are two iterations, two places where I iterate over keyloggings. And when I'm doing this, I cannot really add or remove any of them. And also here. First I'm marking released as true. And then inside keyboard, you will do this. If keyloggings is locked, actually no. Uh, this is alright if keyloggings are not locked. If they are locked, you do not need this. I think I should call this immediately. Okay, time to log those keyloggings. Okay, this is actually pretty decent. So I just need to delete all of those elements. And call window register input, possibly. Okay, that should work. And it did complicate the code a little bit. Yeah, now I can safely iterate through this vector. Space, space, a macro recorder, sync them. Okay, that caused a space object to be created. Here. If I didn't found the track, we are here. I don't need to check for empty timeline here. Actually, let me check. I want to be sure I'm not deleting any important code here. Okay. Okay. Sweet. Absolutely works. Wow. Okay. Recording over existing tracks still causes some issues. Oh, and by the way, I think I can do this differently. Like that. Should have the same effect. Super nice. Hey, so this is another bug fixed. Okay, this is duplicate. Okay, I guess it's kind of getting late. I don't think I will be able to do much more today, maybe one or two more, but I would be totally dead. So today we exposed window activity as a new field, which works amazingly well. I mean, the point of this whole sync system, it was basically achieved. It works. I can have a hotkey that is only active when a game is active. This crash was fixed, hotkey button works, connector works. Yeah, I can activate even the window remotely. I mean, from within Automat. Automat actually got more robust as a result of this whole adventure, I think. I mean, we still have a few bugs to fix, like Windows build and placement of new objects, but I think those are the most important ones for the next stream on Wednesday. Yeah, and more crashes. And after that, I think we'll generally make a pause in the sync system, and we will go back to working on the system tray. System tray is also important. Oh yeah, and timeline splicing. We have lots of things that we should fix before Automat is kind of Steam ready. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to figuring out all of those things. It's actually not long before it's Steam ready. Anyway, see you in 2 days.